Toronto police are investigating the third shooting in 3 straight nights. In all the cases, the attacks were in heavily populated areas of the downtown core of the city.
Tonight, Russia is flexing its muscles in northeast Syria as the U.S. lowers its
Not so good, Gail. Look, this
President
is
Trump
paradise.
says
The pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong have entered a new and more violent phase this week with the shooting of a protester by police.
Focusing on that and talking to key players, some of whom believe there is a crisis of violence inside.
Violence. It's a heavy-hitting topic.
It is, and we, your hosts on Brothers by Law podcast, we got it this time,
Yes, we did.
are going to talk about that.
But first, there's been a lot of people out there wondering about what platform we use to actually get our podcast out there, and we recommend Buzzsprout, buzzsprout.com. We actually partnered up with them, and they were able to give us a link for you guys. So if you guys are curious, you can click the link and get started. We have, what is it, a $20 Amazon gift card for everybody who wants to get started there.
Yep, $20 Amazon gift card. You go, hit that link, follow the instructions.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom.
We've been using it for what, about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And it's actually a really easy program. Or software.
It gets you everything. You get all these different directories to how to put out your site. It helps you with that. It helps you. Gives you basically a little website, a bunch of different help things for you.
A little past on how we came about it. We originally tried to create our own website on our own personal server, upload everything, but we ended up having a lot of issues going that route.
Mm-hmm.
We looked into a bunch of different options, came across Buzzsprout, and found that they were probably one of the cheapest options.
Yep.
They have a free option if you were just kind of want to try something out. And we actually got our $20 Amazon gift card through that and got new memory foam that we're going to be putting up on the walls. So it's a pretty good gig.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great. And then, like I said, it's cheap compared to a bunch of other ones. You get a free little trial, so you can still put some stuff up there.
Yep.
We've been using it, and it's great. It's easy to use. So
if anybody out there is looking for a platform to get started with their own podcast, definitely click on the link down below. Let them know that we sent you guys. And you get you guys a $20 Amazon gift card so you can get something to help you get started. And
again, if you're not listening to this on YouTube, go to our YouTube and click the link below.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into violence. All right, so let's start with, where do you feel, or we'll start with like the history of violence, right?
Okay.
Do you feel that violence has been something that has always been around?
Oh, yeah. Violence has always been around.
Okay, I was hoping we'd all agree on that, because I know there's like a debate about whether or not it's something that's taught, right, or something that's just inherent in us.
I think violence is part of human nature. Like, everyone has the potential for violence in them. If they use it or not is a different story, but we all have that potential.
Right. Okay. So we agree on that. Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, like, just especially having my daughter and watching her grow, like, she naturally, like, she doesn't like hit, but she like is very selfish,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like small little things, like she kind of pushes, she kind of throws things, and she doesn't really care if she kind of hurts you. You're like, oh, you can't do that, that's mean.
Well, that's something you have to teach your kids,
Right.
It's, not to hurt things.
Yeah.
Because I say that's a big reason why it's like, it's something we're all born with.
It's a lack of, well, I think it starts with a lack of understanding
Mm-hmm.
that something can come across as violence.
Yeah.
But I think it evolves into something greater as we realize its potential.
Mm-hmm.
Because violence has its place in both good and bad, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So you were wanting to talk about the Templars.
Yes.
And basically the history of violence.
As when I think of violence, there are two groups I think of: the Templars and the Vikings.
Okay.
Like, to me, those are the two big parts of history that really, I mean, there's a bunch of violence in history. It's everywhere. But for me, the two things I think of are the Templars and the Vikings. Templars because they were like a religious violence.
You've been playing a lot of games, haven't you? A little
Not just
Assassin's
that.
Creed.
No, I mean, there's a new TV show out. Can't remember what it's called.
There's a TV show with Templars.
Yes.
Oh,
I cannot remember what the name of it is right now, but it was on after Vikings for a while, so we started watching it, and I loved
funny.
it. The first few episodes took me a little bit to get into it, but after that, I loved it.
You were like into it.
And then I haven't seen season 2 yet, but they have Mark Hamill in it.
Huh. All right.
I think it is Night something. I'll look it up here in a second, but
Okay. You mentioned Vikings, and I have been watching the Vikings show. It is crazy.
and see that.
The great thing about it is it doesn't show too much.
Yeah.
My daughter was like kind of interested in watching it with me, and I was like, then I was like, well, it doesn't really show a whole lot, but there's a few scenes like, all right, yeah.
There are some spots
There are
that
some
you need to
spots,
be careful with, but
Yeah.
it is a great, and it's not.
It's no Game of Thrones, which that was what I was worried about. I was like, okay, Game of Thrones really pushes the boundaries, but this one wasn't like that. So I was like, okay, we can watch a few parts together. But yeah. It's crazy. Like, I don't know how accurate it is. I'm assuming it's pretty accurate.
Let's put it like this: it is accurate to a point, but it's also a TV show,
Right.
so they do change a lot of stuff, but there is a lot of accuracy in it.
Okay.
I don't want to go too far into it, ruining some of the stuff if you haven't finished. But
yeah.
we can talk about that later on off the show. But yeah, there is a bunch of stories, and they are all pretty actually accurate, but they twist a lot of stuff to make it TV worthy. So,
It's crazy because I mean, a lot of these shows that depict of the past times, it shows how kind of desensitized people were to violent actions. But I mean, that was just kind of a part of life, and that's where I kind of go into. There's a good and bad violence,
Yeah.
There's
Now that Templar show, Nightfall.
Nightfall. Okay, I've not seen any of that. I might have seen a trailer,
I've seen
but I don't
everything
remember.
but the last episode of season 1. I think they have season 2 out. I think it's on Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember.
Okay,
But I need to watch that.
yeah, it's really good though.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Okay,
Like I said, the first episodes may take you a little bit. Like it took me like 3 episodes before I got into it. But I kept watching it because I was interested. Because
yeah.
I do like Templar. Like I like the history of the Templars. Like it's crazy to me this religious group like this. We're just so violent though. Like
Yeah. Well, even like, like a lot of times you hear like religious groups back then, like it's funny, like in the like older scriptures or writings, it seemed like it was more of like an order.
Yeah.
But now that we kind of look at it from a 21st century lens, it seems more like a corrupt, evil thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. It was basically just these knights. They were out to fight the good war.
Yeah.
That's how they saw it. They were basically fighting anyone who did not believe and just trying to get back the Holy Land, this and that.
And then going off of that kind of stuff, you got the Salem witch trials, which
Yeah.
I don't know if you really consider that a violent
I mean,
time, but like a lot of people died.
yeah, I mean, of course it's a violent time.
Right.
But it's,
Well, again, like it's also, we're looking through a 21st century lens. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, that was more like, oh, we're trying to get rid of all
It's
this evil.
really, it's something like-
they probably didn't see it as violence.
what they see it is like, we don't understand this. This scares us. This is bad. It's witchcraft. Burn the witch.
Burn the witch. Burn her.
Which, and that's the crazy thing. Like all these violence things, like a lot of it is just misunderstandings,
Yeah.
which is it's crazy. And like a lot of the stuff that nowadays, like you'd look back at it, like how, why, what.
So, kind of talking about misunderstandings. This morning I woke up and I was looking up to different generations.
Mm-hmm.
My parents and I, we're almost in the same generation. Almost. We're
Yeah.
off by about a few years, but yeah, like they're like almost at the beginning of millennial, almost,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm at the very almost at the end.
Yeah.
So if they had me a little bit later, we actually would have, or had me a bit sooner, or yeah, it would have been same generation. It's kind of weird, but what's crazy is I was reading up on it, and they're talking about like I think Gen Z
Mm-hmm.
or iGen, I believe is what they call them, and they're saying a lot of them are now more understanding of people these days,
Oh yeah.
It's just like crazy that it took us this long to get to that state. I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, it seems like it to me. They seem to be more caring about people's feelings and stuff, and seems to be less misunderstanding on a bunch of different things.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day,
Yeah,
for
well,
sure. But
Just
yeah,
in
I
general.
think at this point of age where we're in right now, there are a lot more people more understanding of other things and understandable of like different cultures, religions, histories.
More careful about different stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was like, oh, off with his head. He's an
Yeah.
evil person.
Because we've always been in this like, if it's not our way, it's wrong
Yeah.
point
but
of view.
It
And
used
which
to be the one way was a big, massive group.
Yeah, but it's come to the point, and just like as everything else in the world, things change.
Right.
Things change, and you have to adapt, and that's just how it was. This one, everybody does the same thing. Like this is this big mind. Like no, that's not it. There's other ways, and we're at a point now where I think that's pretty much gone. Like we're not gonna have like this one way only type scenarios too much anymore.
Yeah. It's it's funny because like I know a lot of people try to push diversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you need to be more diverse. It encourages fresher thinking. It's been one of those things that I've been debating about lately, if it's even a positive, because it seems like the more diverse we get, the more split the country becomes, and then the more violence that ensues because these different cultures are clashing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, the newer generation seems to be, more understanding and careful. We also have a lot of these older generations, like our generations, that just having a hard time melting with all that. So it seems like...
I think that's the big issue. It's just like a lot of people don't want to change their ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just what we're used to, And like, I'm pretty, open. I'm not... do you, just as long as they don't affect me, do you, I don't care. I have my views and that's my right. You have your right to have your views. I respect that. I may not fully agree with your views,
right.
But that's cool. I'm not going to hate you for that. But like, I get it though. It's hard some things it's hard to open your, when you're stuck in a certain mindset, it's hard to adapt in a sense.
Yeah,
It's hard to stick in there, but the issue is a lot of these people, they don't want to be open.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, a lot of people been doing a specific thing for like years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be all of a sudden almost told, hey, you need to change your way. I mean, I'd be frustrated with that.
Yeah. I mean, I get it too, yeah. Where we are now in this point in time, you have to.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's coming off force, but that's just where we're at, where things are different. Which, this type of frustration from like people like demanding people to change who have been stuck in their ways, it's going to take time, just like it's taken time to get to where we're at, where things are more open. You got to, it's a give and take situation, but how we're at, no one wants to.
Do you think the modern era, like the internet, has caused an increase in violence?
Yes. Yes. Media is a big violence trigger.
I've often debated about that because I feel like a lot of times it would have helped people come to a closer understanding in different areas, but at the same time, it also opens up to the world and all the everything that goes on with it.
Yeah. Media, internet, all that, and the way the media is, it is definitely spreads violence. Not like, it's like when you have like the mass shootings and stuff.
Right.
They don't go on and like they just like to make the accuser, the shooter and all that. They like to make the bad guys just everywhere. They put them everywhere, and it makes them sort of like, a celebrity.
Okay.
And kids look at these people like, oh, this guy's getting all this attention. And
So you're thinking the increase of violence is due to attention?
I think, yes. I think that's at least a part of it. That is a big part of it, like you get on these media sites and they don't throw around the victims. they throw around the ones who caused the pain, the one who caused the violence, the one who did everything, and they throw them around, like they throw the name, they're giving them all this publicity.
Yeah.
They're basically making this person famous, and people are looking at like, oh, that guy's getting famous. His name's everywhere. Like, and you got these kids, and like with the way the world is, everybody's always like depressed and looking for something.
Yeah.
And they see that person getting like just blown up and famous, and like, well, if I go, I want my name to be known. That's
I don't know about that. I don't know if kids are seeing violence as a publicity thing.
I don't know. That's the way I've seen. I've done,
it's hard to say just because, I mean, it's been a hot minute since I was a kid, so we don't exactly fit in with the kids these days.
No, I don't, understand all the hip hop lingo anymore. But yeet.
Yeet's okay. Yeet's funny. I enjoy that one. It doesn't make any sense, but I think it's funny.
I don't get it. Just yeet. I don't even know how you're supposed to say it properly.
But
yeets. I just yeeted.
See, I often debate if violence is even increased in recent times.
I don't think it's actually increased. I just think us knowing about it has increased.
Yes, yeah, and that's my thinking too. Like, I think the internet has exposed us to more stuff. We've gotten better at documenting it and showing, hey, this is what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we got our phones in our hands 24/7.
Yeah.
We're always being updated with everything. Something hits the news, hits on Facebook or the media, boom, we have it within minutes.
You know, it's crazy. So the intro video to this episode has a bunch of violent things that are going on, right? And what's crazy about it is all those videos I got off of YouTube, and it was within the last week. And they're from all different countries, like Russia. There's one from Chicago, which is not a country, but you know what I mean. There's one from Canada, Puerto Rico.
Wait, what, did you say Canada?
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's fake.
It's fake.
Canada's the nicest place in the world, buddy.
Canada doesn't have violence.
No, Canada, I mean, they have maple leaves and mooses.
Yeah.
In hockey. I mean, I guess if it's hockey related, but I don't think Canadians call hockey violence.
Maybe. I don't know. I was just looking for something that goes with violence, so I didn't watch the thing in its entirety.
Yeah.
I mean, that would take a lot more extra research, but
that's way too much work.
I will say, so I was we were talking about this before, but for the podcast purposes, I was looking in getting like different statistics on violence and if it's getting better or worse. But like what I mentioned to you, it seems like statistics are extremely flawed. They'll like get their numbers from like a specific area or a specific group.
It's tough looking at statistics or anything anymore. With just, it's so hard. Like, who do you trust when it comes down to it? Like, that's the biggest thing I've seen. Another thing that media does, you have your basically three sides: your far left, your far right, and the in between places. And
which even in between is somehow left or right.
Yeah, exactly. So regardless of like, you have to do a bunch of research, and who knows what's true or not anymore. That's just how I feel. Like, it's so hard to trust anything from the media.
Yeah, I decided I'm just gonna go with the flow, go with what I feel is going on out there. I will say, us being in Wichita, Kansas, there has been a lot of violence lately.
You do see a lot more stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, geez, what is going on?
Well,
like, maybe it is like increasing, or are we just in a bad patch of the year?
Well, like, I guess I have been here for a while, but I've not been here long enough in like the mindset of like having a family like here. I think maybe the past 5 years, met my now wife, and that's when I started really thinking like, okay, I guess sort of where we're going to be for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to really think more into it. And we're talking about having a kid. Now it's like, wow, this place is violent though. Like, I'm starting to pay more attention to it, and it's just like, wow, there's so much violence.
The main streets seem to be where it's at.
I do a lot of driving for my work, and you go down these streets and you can just tell, like, wait, this is a violent street. And it's crazy here because like one side of the road, you're like, I don't want to walk on that side of the street. But the next side of the road, it's like, well, that's an okay place.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Crazy.
It's spotty.
Yeah, and then like you said, yeah, just every day there's something on the news.
It seems like nobody really cares about being secretive about being violent too, because they'll like do it like right off like one of the main intersections, and you're like, what, really? Like you're not gonna do like in an alleyway or something? You're like you're just gonna start shooting up people like right at a busy intersection?
Yeah, and then like nowadays too, these kids are being stupid and recording it. Like,
I'm guessing you saw that video.
I've seen a bunch of videos.
The one chick that was doing that or something. No, she was crossing the border or something, right? And she was streaming it live. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
It was so funny, but she wasn't being violent. It was just illegal stuff. But I was like, why is she streaming it live while she's doing that?
Like, I think just this generation, like, I don't want to say this generation, but you know, like with all these phones, like these kids are stupid. Like, if you're gonna do something illegal, don't record it. Sorry, like.
But what if you want it later? Like, be like, yeah, I did that. See, that's pretty funny. Cool.
When you get out of jail, because they're gonna catch you because you recorded it. I don't know.
So, let's take a second and dive into like gun violence. Gun violence, because we're talking about like a lot of stuff been going on around here, and I know a lot of it's been shooting related.
Yes.
So,
and there's a lot of that big controversy with the gun rights and all that.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I wanted to get into. Is it the government's job to regulate guns?
So I'm just going to say my stance on guns.
Okay.
I'm pro-gun. I think everyone has the right to have a gun under certain, circumstances, like criminals and all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
No. I mean, depending on the crime.
You have the right.
Or at least having like a certain amount of time between, when you've came out of jail to, when you can have a gun, depending on your crime. But I do believe there needs to be tighter checks and tighter, but better background checks, better, making it a little more difficult to get a gun. Like at this point, it's pretty easy. You walk into a store.
I haven't personally bought one yet, so I don't know how.
Walk into the store. Like you fill out a form. They do a quick background check.
It depends on the state, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But from back here, when we picked up the wife a gun a few years back, we walked into Dick's Sporting Goods and just filled out some paper or filled out some online form. They did a quick background check, and bam, we got a gun. And like. I mean, we're not criminal people. We're not, we use it for, just enjoyment. We go out to some families out.
So you think it should be harder?
I think they need a more extensive background check. Like to be able to get a gun like in a day.
I don't know like, how the background check works. Like, is it just fast?
Or same day.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, it was the same day. Like I think it needs a little more extensive check, and I think everybody needs to go through training. Like I said, everyone should be able to have a gun, but you need to do a little more extensive background check for it, and you need to go through gun safety training.
I think you should definitely go through gun safety training. Do you have to go through gun safety training before you get a gun?
I don't think so.
Oh, see, that's dumb. I think you should definitely go through that because I've seen some really bad gun control, like just people like moving that thing around, like unaware that the barrel is facing someone's limb or something. Like, dude, like point that somewhere else, man. Like, that, it may not be loaded, but you always treat a gun like it's loaded.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, like I said, just they need to make it a little harder. Basically, just be able to not make sure they're giving it to the people who are going to use it properly. Type deal, best they can.
Do you think anybody should control or have rules against guns?
Rules?
Yes.
Like, you mean like government?
So I know recently they started allowing you to have a concealed carry into schools.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Like, it was like 2 years ago.
I didn't know about
here
that
in
one.
Wichita, Kansas. Yeah, that was a big old debate because some people weren't too happy about that. Other people were like, well, yeah, now we have more people protecting if they need to.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, because I fully support the concealed carry. Like I understand safety, things are crazy, but I think there are some areas where it's probably best not to have one. Maybe like certain people, like I think like at schools, I don't think people should be able to walk into a school with a gun besides like security officers.
Which I wonder, I don't know how drastic it is these days, But I remember like when I went to the school, I think there was like one security guard.
Yeah.
And there definitely need to be more.
Well, I know there are a lot of schools now with metal detectors
Yes.
and all this other crazy stuff, but
That would be really annoying if you bring like keys or something.
all right.
Just setting that thing off like, oh god, not again.
Yeah, no, I mean, I fully support the right for the conceal and carry, but I think there are some areas where you shouldn't have a gun.
Yeah, it was
Schools,
interesting.
hospitals, government buildings.
Yeah, because like Walmart, I believe, had a shooting incident a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and then there was a lot of talks about like big businesses and banks jumping in and putting like regulations against buying certain weapons, right?
Mhm.
Which I don't know. I don't think banks should really jump in, but like Walmart, if they wanted to say, "Hey, you can't bring a gun in here," I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fair enough." I'd rather that than the government saying, "No, you can't have a gun."
I could see it being okay to have like each different,
Yeah.
business being like, okay, yeah, no, or yes, or no.
And
or,
then, like I understood, like okay, Walmart had a shooting recently. I get it. Like
yeah.
they want to try and eliminate that possibility.
Yeah.
I don't think telling people you can't bring a gun in is really going to eliminate it, but there is that possibility, and I support Walmart making that decision because I mean it is their business, it is their right.
Yeah, and I accept. I agree with that as well. It's sort of their business. They're trying to protect their people.
Yeah.
If that's what they feel they need to do, then that should be okay.
But it's like if the government was to do it, like I'd throw a fit. Like no,
Yeah. The government's saying like, oh no, you can't bring a gun. That's a different story. The government's pumping in like it's not their business.
Yeah.
But the businesses, it's their right to do whatever they feel like they need to do for safety.
The main point of the government is to be a bridge between us and the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But so like if like basically they're gonna help with like the trade and negotiations with other countries and yeah, but like actual like governing or like basic rules, but not like anything crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I have like stipulations, but we won't get into that in this episode.
That's other episodes. What's your opinion on that though? Like, what do you think we should do? If we like to limit gun control, like, what do you think? You think?
So, I have been debating about this a lot lately. One of the buddies that I work with, he is a part-time officer.
Mm-hmm.
So he's told me a few of the things that police officers will do. They'll purposely sit in a zone where people are known to be speeding, and they'll become a deterrence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we wanted to eliminate more shootings, we need to put more deterrences everywhere.
Yeah.
Now,
More security
yeah, kind
in
of.
buildings.
Just more cameras.
Like,
Wichita
more
does not
cameras.
have a lot of cameras. Like no, like you don't. Well, there's a lot of cities out there that have like cameras that are at traffic circles or street lights, and they actually like see if people are speeding through or and it seems like Wichita doesn't have a whole lot of that, and maybe they should.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought about the idea of, because I know recently there's rumors or talks that cops are using drones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like at the freeway, and they were like pulling people over using drones. I was like, that is interesting. I don't know about that, but that is an interesting thing. Like if you had drones going around, and maybe they had a weapon, but maybe not use it. Like the drone couldn't physically use the weapon. Someone would have to remote through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'd really trust that particular thing, but the fact, like, just having that deterrence going around, and you, like, say you were about to do something wrong, right?
Yeah.
That would be in the back of your head, like, that drone might be flying right around the corner.
Yeah, it's
and
that drone just sort of
Yeah,
coming by like,
yeah.
ooh. Yeah, I mean,
So-
I get that. Like, having something extra there to help,
Yeah,
just, like, have them double think what they're doing.
right. And that's kind of like, I don't really think there should be like laws and regulations that prevent people from having weaponry of any kind. There should be something in place to keep people at the back of their heads thinking, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to last long, for one, because there's all these things around me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, having something else there. Now, thinking of, like, the people, the gun violence and all that, another thing, like, with the school shootings, a lot of the things you hear, like, a lot of the time at this point, you think it's more like a cry for help. If you're reading the stories, a lot of it, it's like a cry for help. And a lot of the stories, like they'll post something on their social media or and there's been a bunch of stories where like parents have turned the kids in and actually have prevented
which is
stuff like that.
Crazy to think.
And then
that a
there's been
parent would have to
some
step
where
in.
like there have been a few where they did turn in but no one did anything about it, and then the shooting happened.
I've heard what was that down
I can't
in Florida?
remember. It might have
happened or something.
I can't remember. But I think that's another thing we need to look into is, okay, these kids are obviously having some health issues, or there's something wrong.
Oh yeah,
They're looking at a lot more like mental health, or they're depressed, or this and that. So
and we mentioned the social media earlier, and I think that plays in a whole lot with our like people's mental health.
Everyone's just drone in on their phones. We're spending so much time on it. It's like taken away from all this other stuff. We're not being sociable.
I'm at fault too. Like I will watch YouTube for hours, or even like have it in the background listening. And at some point, I gotta tell myself like, all right, I need to take a break. I need to be away from the technology for a bit, because it does. Do you ever just feel like after a while of using social media or some kind of tech that you just feel so zoned out, like you're not even part of this world?
Oh yeah,
it's weird.
Oh yeah,
I always sit there and be like, man, I feel weird. Like I have to go outside and just kind of like sit on the porch and just look around for a bit. Like, man, I feel so odd.
But that's like, it's like, I think about it now. It's like, if I'm not sleeping, I have some type of technology going through. Like, when I'm at work, I'll listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm at home, we're watching TV, or we're on our phones, or I'm playing games, or on Facebook. Like,
it's funny because I was talking to a couple classmates that I went to one of the community colleges for a bit, and a lot of them did not like being bored. They're so used to consuming some kind of content that they were saying like they feel so uncomfortable if they don't have something going. They don't like to be just bored and thinking.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so weird, because that's like something that I personally enjoy doing. Just take the moment just to sit there and just think about stuff. Like a lot of times during car rides before I got into podcasts, just like listen to podcasts, I just be thinking about stuff and be like, oh yeah, I should probably do that. That'd be kind of interesting. I wonder if this would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know? But I guess a lot of people don't think like, or don't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's everybody's so consumed. And then, but yeah, anyways, that social media definitely, you know, there's, you know, we can use that. Like I said, it's bad, but it's also good. We can use that to sort of point out maybe people, because like I said, a lot of these kids who are doing these school shootings now, they seem to have like at least put some type of notice on their social media at some point.
I mean,
and you can look for that for signs. And it goes back to their mental health. Like, okay, well, how do we help these kids not be like this? Because they're either like depressed or there's something wrong with them.
Right. It's almost like lying, where if you lie, you can't help but show a sign that you're lying. Except for like a very select few, but that's kind of like violence. If you're going to commit a violent act, you can't help but express it in some kind of minor way. There's only like a few select people who can just show no signs.
And like one thing they've always liked to do in history is just like have something to blame.
Oh yeah.
And lately, a lot of it has been video games. People are blaming video games for these violent tendencies. Like, oh well, they played Grand Theft Auto. That's why they shot the place up. It's like,
I was definitely on. So originally I was like, that's preposterous, right? But then at one point I became kind of more on the fence on that. I was like, it might not be as preposterous as I originally thought. So we talk about like how like the history of different things, right? And I was sitting there thinking, if someone was to be exposed to the beheading of people like all the time, and they just aren't well in the head, you know, there's a few of those. They might see that as like a pleasure or kind of like an outlet, and may actually find enjoyment of beheading people, right? Yeah. So, and then I think about like video games, you know, there's some people that just aren't right in the head and they play these violent video games. I'm sure there's a select few that it's just not good for their health. But I mean, there's always that.
Yeah, well, my opinion with this, because I mean, like I said, back in the day, it was like Marilyn Manson. Oh, it was Marilyn Manson. That's why this kid. There's the Columbine.
Yeah.
They blamed Marilyn Manson. And Eminem, I think, too. Like, they're blaming all this music that's coming up at the
I
time.
remember that. There's a lot of talks of music being the reason why there's a lot of violence.
But now we're at, it's video games. Like, they're going to continuously pick something to blame and not hit the real factor, which that real factor is there's something wrong with the kids. There's something wrong with whoever commits this violence. There is something wrong, whether it be an actual mental illness or just, they have this urge, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, with the video game and violence, I say it's crap.
I'm 50-50 on it.
I'm like 80-20. Like 80 it's crap, 20 like I will admit, like, yeah, okay, if someone is not right in the head and they're playing these violent video games, then yeah, they could, potentially be utilized. But in like 90% of the cases you're going to see, no, it's not really the video game related.
To me, I know I'm not knowledgeable enough to really have a full-on opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, I always kind of like, well, I don't know enough, so I really can't say too much. But so recently there is a study on how much power does Facebook have over like people's opinions and stuff.
Tons.
Right, tons. And it's that kind of information that scares me on like how much influence does video games really have over people,
Mm-hmm.
And I know the majority of people probably see this as like good fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of like the physics was just whack for the most part, right?
Yeah.
You'd shoot a guy and he'd like fly off and it's funny,
Mm-hmm.
right? But is it really that far-fetched to think that it might have more of an influence over people's mental state?
Well, no, I mean, listen, I definitely think there is, that potential, that there is that little bit of influence, but I don't think that, like I said, 90% of people, there's going to be that influence, but it's not going to push them. Yeah. It's not going to be enough to actually make them violent.
Yeah, that was like my main first initial thought, but then as I thought about it more, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe, but again, like, I don't know, because like I don't know if violence has increased. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's sort of hard to tell.
It's really hard, especially now that we're exposed to it more. Is it really increased, or is it the same?
At this point, we're just exposed to it. I mean, I think there is an increase, but we're also exposed to it more.
Yeah.
So it has been increased, but we're seeing a lot more of it than we were. So it looks like way more than what we used to.
And then like the other thing, like maybe it's not violent video games; it's just video games in general. Like, are we just like we talk about how social media is kind of pulling people from reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe video games is also kind of doing the same thing, where people just don't realize the full-on repercussions of committing certain acts. Like, we just kind of treat it as, oh yeah, you go around, you shoot a person, it's whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we getting desensitized to doing acts because we're exposed to it so much? Or
I don't know, because I mean, there's a difference. You're playing a game and you're shooting a gun.
Right.
That's different than really shooting a gun.
Right, but if you're playing video games so much, right? Would you personally feel different doing something in a video game versus, I mean, maybe not you personally, but would a person feel different doing something in a video game versus reality? Or would their mental state kind of start blending the two?
I mean, I guess that's really going to depend on like their personal sort of, everyone's different. When it comes down to mental stuff, everyone's different. And I think that's going to be a mix of how that person reacts mentally. I don't know if I got too far away from the mic there.
Maybe for a second.
It's going to be like a mix of how that person handles mentally stuff and how long they've played that game. I can see that being something. But, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I have played a bunch of Stardew Valley. You are not going to see me out there just starting to farming.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one of those things, like, I know this is very new. Mm-hmm. This is very new to modern, or like to people in general, so we don't really have a whole lot of statistics and numbers to really go off of.
Well, they've been doing a bunch of tests,
but
trying. A lot of those tests, like, it's so... You can't...
A lot of them are messed up.
I've done a lot of research, because I've done a lot of like different school subjects based on this, and it's a lot of the research is just it's not finished, or it's not accurate.
I mean, a lot of this has been the last like 10, 15 years that this has really kind of become a thing.
Yeah.
Or like a possibility.
And then like a lot of the stuff I've, read through, it's like, oh, we see this increase, but it's not actually they saw the increase. They word it in a way that says they've seen an increase, but really they didn't. So I think a lot of the journals I've read, I've noticed they've done stuff like that where they write it out to say there is an increase chance of playing video games and violence, but their results actually show nothing.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm like 50-50, because like I know there isn't enough out there for me to personally say like this is I have these numbers and that's why I believe it 100%. I'm kind of like it is a possibility. Again, does it affect me? No. Does it affect you? Probably not. Like, and I don't see a lot of people being affected, but then again, it's new, and I do see people more depressed. Yeah. And it seems like they're more disconnected, and I don't know if video games are a contributing factor to that.
I think this whole, because when you're a kid, you need to be in a social interaction.
Yes.
You need, and not Facebook social interactions, actual human to human, face to face social interactions. And nowadays, that's becoming less and less of a thing. So these kids are becoming less sociable in person, and it being more sociable online, which behind the keyboard, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
With no percussions, but no, that's not true. It'll catch up to you.
You can be talking to one person on one screen and then doing something else on another, and in a face-to-face thing, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could, but
the thing is, though, they're losing that needed social interaction. And I think that's becoming a lot of issue. Everyone's just behind these phones now and not interacting with each other. And kids need that interaction to grow healthily. I'm in a lot of psychology classes, and that's one of the things we've been studying about. And it is a proven fact, that we need, as a younger kid and as you're growing up, you need actual social interaction. And kids aren't getting that these days. And that's, I think, my opinion is and I think I'm sure there's a lot of scientists, psychologists that would agree, the lack of actual social interaction, and now everyone is behind phones and screens, is leading to a very less mentally structured society, in a sense.
I have a guy that I work with, and he has friends that he would consider friends from people just online, which is weird to me because like I don't have any friends that are just online, right? I've talked to people who have been online, but I never actually consider them friends, and I personally would feel weird about inviting them over to my house. I
mean, I got a lot of friends online. I got a lot of friends I've met through gaming. Yeah, and I definitely consider them friends. I've not met any of these people in real life. Okay. I would. Definitely. They're great people, just from what I know about them. I mean, I've spent years on years talking with these people. Okay. And I'm not going to, what I'm saying though, you do need your actual social interaction, but it's okay to make friends, having friends online and stuff. That's great too. It's a great way to,
it's just, to me, it seems really odd, because I've always made friends, meeting them face to face and actually interacting with them. So to hear it becoming more of a norm to make friends online and just never meeting them before, I'm like, oh, that's just odd to me.
Yeah, I can get that. I can understand that.
And I'm a terrible online friend, just so you guys know. I have people who hey, let's play a game together, and I'm like, I really don't want to.
Yeah, well, I'm not much into multiplayer games anymore. I'm more of just a solo player. Yeah. But I still got all these people I talk to. I got chats I'm on daily on Facebook and stuff with the people I've met a few years ago. And I still talk to them every day.
All right. So do you think, so would you say social media is the main contributing factor to violence these days? Or?
No. I mean, it's definitely a big factor, but I don't think it's the main factor.
All right. What do you think is the main factor then?
Just the same stuff it's always been. Violent, just crime in general. Crime leads to violence these days. I think that's been the biggest thing for a while is crime.
Okay, so just doing criminal acts will lead you eventually to do violence.
Well, I mean, think about we want to go back to mafia stuff. You know, when that sort of was a big thing. That's crime, that's violence. A lot of violent stuff came with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Huh.
What do you think?
I'd see. I would normally agree with that, but it seems like, I don't know any people who have like committed mass murders personally, but they never seem like they're just your average Joe or anything, you know, or no, like they're just like someone who's been doing criminal acts. They actually do seem like your average Joe, you know, just someone who just got tired of something at some point.
Yeah, I think actually. All right, so my buddy in Michigan,
Okay.
he used to play pool with one of the guys who committed the Columbine.
What? That's weird.
He was like just a normal, everyday, average kid.
Oh, okay.
But we, you know, like I might have met him once. I'm not 100% sure. I was young. I don't know.
Huh.
But yeah, that kid was just a normal, everyday, average kid.
Yeah.
Went out there, and then all this happened. Like, and a lot of things. Like people are like, oh, there's got to be something wrong with him. A lot of time, I mean, like before social media, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah. No.
And there would have been no way for them to really vet. Now, social media, they have this way where they can type whatever they want, and they think there's no consequences. But back then, yeah, it's just a normal person. And it's like with like suicide, you know, you see these people like, and they look fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great. They're okay. They're having happy lives, but deep down, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with violence. You know, people who can commit violence, they seem as normal people.
Right.
But deep down, they have this thing, you know.
See, I always thought like to me, violence these days, the main contributing factor would be like I want to say like all the diverseness of everything. You know, being exposed to people who are completely different than you constantly.
Yeah.
I think that drives people insane. I mean, it's great that you can interact with people who have different beliefs and thinkings, but at some point, like you do need to interact with people who think the same. I can't stand talking to someone who we just don't agree at all, like all the time. That drive me nuts.
It is tough. It is very tough.
So I think the main contributing factor to modern day violence is just there's so much different ideologies and beliefs that just it's annoying. It drives people insane.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. You know, like it's hard to keep up with people that just don't agree with you. So then, like, you guys are trying to have a normal conversation, and then you're like, "Well, I think this," and then like they go off on you.
Yeah,
like that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Like, no, well, that's what I think.
And like you can disagree with your friend, but for the most part, you agree on most things, and then that's fine. But we don't live in a society where you agree on most things and disagree a few things. It's like, no, we want the most diverse person possible.
Yeah.
And then you get that person in your company or something, and there's a big clash.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't agree on anything. It's like picking your partner, right? If you're gonna marry somebody, you want to agree on most things. You don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah.
There's got to be a foundation where it's like, okay, I agree on these majority things. These I can do with. If you don't agree with this area, that's fine.
Yeah,
we can live with that.
I definitely think that could be a source of violence. Of course, then that's what sort of leads to everybody being like, "Oh, well, that's a racist attack or that's prejudice." It's like, well, you're throwing this person into a situation he's not comfortable with or used to, and then something just snaps in him. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not, but it's understandable in a sense.
Do you think violence is mainly like a big issue here in America, or do you think it's more of a worldwide thing?
Oh, it's a worldwide thing. I mean, you see what's going on in Hong Kong right now.
Oh yeah, well that's really recent. So it's
and then of course Jerusalem and Israel. That's been going on for beginning of time.
Well, a lot of people like to say like, oh, Europe doesn't have any problems, but I mean they have issues, like a lot of issues. We just for some reason don't cover it in our news.
Well, I mean, American news just sort of sticks to itself. They don't want to get into everyone else's business.
They want to talk about other countries. They want to talk about the good, right? Like we want to talk about like, I'm going to jump into it for a second. Healthcare. They talk about how great healthcare is great in these other countries, like free, right? But that's not always the case. I've listened to other people talk about it where it's actually an issue as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because I'll hear people talk about like, oh, violence in these countries is not that bad, but then I was looking up on YouTube trying to find like video clips to go into the intro, and they have violence too, and it's just as bad. The only difference is their countries are tiny. They're the size of one of our states.
Well, like you could go from like one end of Europe to the next in just like 5 hours.
Yeah,
that's like me going to like maybe Oklahoma. So
Don't worry about that.
no, ignore that.
a little pop up just showed up on my computer, and he's like, "What?"
And that's like a thing. Don't want to fully get into this either, but like with refugees, that's a big thing up in Europe that we don't see. Like I was watching a lot of like British shows at one point. Like one was like about like squatters and stuff, or like horrible renters and landlords. And there's always this big issue like on that show with refugees
Yeah.
from other areas. And it's something that, we think we're like, oh, we're the only country with this issue and we're doing, but then no, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And it's like violence. We may not see it in other countries, but it's there.
See, then that's kind of why I think that diversity is a big issue. Because, I mean, if you think about the Civil War, when we had black slaves, there was a lot of violence. We introduced people with different thinking. And, I mean, there's a whole other reason behind it. But, you introduce new people into your society, there's going to be a conflict. You have immigrants coming into the country, conflict. At one point, the World War II, we had issues with Japanese because we're at war with the Japanese.
Yeah.
So we had to put them in like our own encampments at one point.
Yeah.
And there's that conflict. Every time you introduce people of different culture or different ethnicity, you're going to have these conflict, and
and it takes time for that.
It takes time for it to start to mold and make sense.
But everyone just expects all this stuff to happen right away.
And you earlier you mentioned about how a lot of people are just kind of stubborn. Really, I mean, you put these different cultures together, they're probably not going to get along at all until their kids or their kids' kids.
It's going to be generations down the road.
Yeah.
And that's like with like the LGBTQ stuff and all that stuff and all the different genders and stuff now.
Yeah. It's very different.
It's different. It's all these people who are like stuck in this mindset, and it's going to take time. And that's why the people are just expecting everybody to change everything right away.
Most people aren't going to change.
It won't. It's going to take time. I mean, we're already seeing major improvements, but within the next few generations, it's going to be normal. It's going to be like nothing ever happened. But people, they expect change instantly. Change does not happen instantly.
No,
unfortunately, it doesn't. I mean, not everybody can be as open as other people are about things like this. It takes time. It's going to take generations. Some people, maybe 10 years down the road, they'll change their mind. It's becoming more normal. That's great, but I think the big issue with all the violence and all the hate going around towards all this stuff at this moment is because everyone's just expecting all of this to change now.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
And
some people will never change. Some will. And like I said, it's going to be generations down the road, and it's going to be normal. It's going to be natural.
And I mean, if you wanted to help people out with all these changes, you need to put them in a group where they all like the people that think the same can have like a little moment to vent, to communicate, and it's all good. Because I mean, every once in a while, I just need to go talk to the wife, hear something. I don't want to talk to people at work because people at work drive me nuts.
Yep.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be? I know we mentioned like my fix of deterring violence. What was your fix going to be?
Like I said in the beginning, I felt that the media really pushes up the criminals and the violence creators and makes them on this pedestal. I think when a situation happens with violence, we need to focus more on the victims.
Right. Okay. So you're saying the
heroes
media
in the
needs to
situation.
cut back on the violent aspect and go more towards for the victims and
like stop looking at like, oh well, this guy committed this, but like, hey, something happened. A lot of people hurt. Pray for think for the families. Or here's the guy who saved all these people from this violent act. Leave the criminal out of it. That's what I'm saying. Leave the criminal out of it. Don't blow his name up, his or her name up. Don't blow their name up.
I've noticed a lot of different social media groups actually do that now, where they leave out the shooter's name or whatever. And they just say there's a shooter here, and they kind of talk about the events, but they don't mention the shooter's name. And it's funny because like I was like, I don't know if that really helps, but I mean, if you think it helps, then I guess it might seem like a positive to some people.
It's like I said, the way I think is, these kids see these people being just put on a pedestal,
right?
And I mean, that's how they are with celebrities. You got a celebrity on a pedestal, they want to be like that celebrity. They got like a favorite. If they're in a situation like, well, I was feeling what that guy felt, Like,
Yeah.
they're saying, oh, well, this guy, he was depressed, and then he did this. They make a whole story about it. Like, well, I feel depressed. You know?
So have you seen the new Joker movie?
I have not yet. I want to.
I have not as
haven't.
well. But you talk
heard
about
it's good.
depression. I heard that it was a lot about mental state.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of interesting that you mentioned that because I was like, I wonder if, like if they should cut back like that kind of stuff in media or like not media but like portray it differently, you know, where the Joker is a violent person, right?
Mhm.
But then they showcase like why he's violent, like the mental state.
I think that's what they did with that movie.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it. I need
Yeah,
to.
but I just kind of heard a lot of backstory stuff because it's like if you're going to it to see a Joker movie, you might need to be warned about this because it's not exactly what you're probably expecting.
I
but
think
a
it's
good
funny.
movie.
It's like a meme going around because like all these media places were like expecting
Yeah,
all this violence after that movie, and
Mm-hmm.
it didn't happen.
I know. I was getting worried because I was like, man, you can't even go see a movie anymore without there being violence.
Yeah.
That's annoying because I just want to go to the movie theater with the wife and kid and not have to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the same thing happened with the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, right?
One of them had that shooting in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a lot of scare about that too.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is annoying. Now I can't even go out to like go to movies anymore.
Can't go nowhere.
I'm just gonna stay home.
Yeah.
Eat
And
some
we can.
ice
We just
cream.
order everything online now. You can do
Yeah.
everything offline.
Yeah. All right.
So, I mean, you got any other points you want to hit with violence? Do we want to hit some?
There was one other thing I was thinking about, and this was me just kind of brainstorming, right?
Mhm.
I was kind of think of ways to fix violence, right?
Okay.
And as I was going to brainstorm, I always kind of joked that maybe what if an artificial intelligence became president, right? That was my big joke.
An AI.
Yeah, it's just some kind of AI became president. But then I thought about it, I was like, with this thing, I was like, I wonder what it'd be like if you had AI do the math and equations and come up with a solution. Because to be fair, like stuff like this, there is a massive amount of data,
Yeah.
right? Trying to that's why this is a big old debate. Like, how do you fix it? Do you outlaw guns? Do you outlaw video games? Or what do you do?
Oh, don't outlaw my video games.
Take my guns,
Don't
but not
do it.
my video games.
I'll give you anything else. Don't take that.
But I was sitting there thinking, I was like, it'd be kind of cool for them to run simulations of like how to like what different like possible solutions.
Yeah. That would be interesting. That'd be a way to do it.
I'd like to see an artificial intelligence be built and tested in like a city, and see like if an artificial intelligence was to try and come up with solutions, how will those solutions come across, and would it be in areas that we wouldn't have thought of?
And then we start the robot revolution.
Yeah. Hey, wait, when are we doing that? When are we doing that podcast?
Yeah.
But yeah, like seriously though, I was trying to like come up with like solutions, and I was like, I want to see that possible solution. Just humor me in one city. Just I want to know
So-
what kind of crazy stuff will that thing come up with.
This reminded me of a story.
Okay.
Way back in, I think my freshman year history class.
All right.
And we were tasked with a question. How would you prevent, like a civil war? How would you stop it? My
So
answer.
do I gotta put like my shoes?
Well,
in
no,
like
this
Abraham
was-
Lincoln's or something.
Well, it's like, you're in this day and age. How would you stop it?
All right. What was your
My
solution?
little rebellious self back in there. And I mean, I really don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
Go to the middle of the country and build a giant pizza place.
Pizza's the solution.
Everybody loves pizza. They'd be
I
too
mean,
busy
sure,
eating
yeah.
pizza, talk about pizza.
Who doesn't like pizza?
I just, for whatever reason, that story reminded me, like, I legit wrote like this 2-page paper on how creating a giant pizza place in the middle of the country would prevent the war or could stop it.
That'd be kind of funny to see. Like, oh yeah, pizza's the solution to
Just
everything.
we need a movie now.
Yes.
Where that was how the war ended and how society has changed over that. I think it's a book or a movie. I can't remember. I heard about it and I've wanted to check it out. But basically it's like history, like the future, like what happened if Hitler won.
Okay.
It just sort of reminded me of that too.
They-
I
they
don't remember
got
what
a
it's
lot of
called.
different like books and movies on that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Oh, well, it was just like some big one people were talking about at one
Okay.
point. And I was like, that's interesting. I forgot what it's called now though, but I think that'd be interesting.
I think I'd have a different eye color and hair color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. As you're like going off, I was like, how would I stop a civil war? Like,
Yeah. Like, how would you?
like
it's
that
one of
would
those
that'd
things,
be
like,
crazy. And it's some people wonder if we are currently in a civil war or not.
I think we're probably.
Like, is it like a cold civil war? Like, are we in it or?
I think there's definitely potential for a civil war
Yeah.
with all how things are going right now.
I don't know.
I think there's potential for one to happen. If it actually will or not, who knows? But I think there's definitely potential, and there's enough people ready. I think.
If we're not in one now, we are on the verge.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
I like to just put that in the back of the head back there where I don't see it or
We're
think
all
about
gonna
it.
be fighting. Yeah. No. So, do you have a modern solution other than pizza?
A modern solution.
Yeah, like your 2 days thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
The mind of a child is so much more simpler.
I know. I know.
Now we're overthinking. We're like, oh man, I don't even know.
And maybe we just need a child to figure it out for us.
It may be.
Just have like child, like ask your 6-year-old, like, hey, how would you stop this? And we'll just do it that way. I don't know. It's. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. Like,
Everybody just needs their own safe space. That's all.
everybody needs to just not talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Everybody just not talk to each other.
You
It's
know,
fun.
It's funny because it would be nice if you can like cut back on like social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you have like a 2-hour like limit on social media per day.
But China's dropped
But-
it down to where like kids only get like an hour of video games a day.
Yeah, But
Which-
dude, I don't know if I want to live in a country like that.
Yeah, no. No. I'm not going to have the government
Like,
telling me I
but-
can only play
but-
1 hour
but
of video
does
games.
it work? I mean, I get that there's a big old war going on or civil war thing going on over there, but like all the protests. But does that actually work?
If you want more protesters,
I mean, well, so I get, yeah, I guess, but it seemed like for the longest time, China had a good grasp on its people, and I mean, like, yeah, there's like a lot of issues here and there, but I mean, as a country as a whole, they seem to be very prosperous until just recently.
yeah.
I mean, like, even America, we've always had like issues here and there, but for the most part, we're pretty prosperous up until recently.
Yeah.
So
I don't
it's like, I wonder. I'm kind of curious. I'll
Times
just
are
sit here and
changing.
do some like brainstorm. I'll be like, okay, so this is my convoluted thought on how this will work.
Times are changing.
It's a good thing I'm not president.
I wouldn't
I can
wanna
see it
be
now. I'll be
president.
like sitting there up at the podium, doing my speech. I'm like, my fellow Americans, this is how I would fix it. And then everybody would be waiting, right? They'll be just sitting there all silent, just be like, all right. I'll be like, we're fucked. They're like, oh no, oh we got the wrong guy as president.
Ladies and gentlemen of the United States of America, free pizza on me.
Yeah, Thomas comes in. Yeah. I'm like, I don't actually have a solution. Thomas on the side's like, pizza,
Free pizza.
free pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen, problem solved.
I know.
Good night.
Everybody like, yeah, pizza.
That'd probably be the winning argument. I mean, anyone can eat pizza. You're vegan. There's vegan free pizza.
Oh, so
Anyone can eat pizza.
I did hear one possible solution from one of the presidential candidates. He was talking about the basic income.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying basically if you take care of people's needs, they will in return take care of the country, kind of thing. I mean, that
Yeah.
wasn't the exact verbiage, but
I mean that makes sense, and that's the issue a lot of people are having. Is like, basic needs aren't being met.
yeah.
I mean,
But I don't know if like that money is the basic need that needs to be met. I think it's
Well,
more of a social.
fortunately, money is
Well, I mean,
because like you're at a point. We got to pay money to have our need.
yeah.
You got to buy food. You got to this and
But
that.
I mean, like, it's not the culprit for violence. Like, it's not going to cause you to like go insane and start shooting people. I mean, you might steal someone's stuff, but
I think people get to a point where they're just tired of it. If they have nothing else to live for.
well, that sounds like more like a suicide thing.
Well, yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy times that we live in.
It is. It is a very crazy time. Not too excited about the future.
No?
I mean, I am, but
I was really worried.
It's just there's a lot of things to worry about.
Yeah, I was
But you
really
just gotta-
worried. And then I had my daughter and I was extra worried, but kind of recently it started like, okay, maybe it's not too bad. I mean, I'm sure a lot of things are exaggerated, but at the same time, like...
Well, like I said, yeah, a lot of things are going to be exaggerated because really the way it is anymore, it feels like, is there's only two sides. There's far left and far right.
Oh, yeah.
And like
it's
anything
far.
in
It's very
between
far.
is wrong for both sides.
Yeah.
Like anyone who thinks sort of in between is wrong. And it's like you're far right, you're far left. If you're not either one,
That'd be interesting to do a podcast on the views of left and right.
That'd be a good idea.
Because I was looking into stuff on it, and it's changed a lot over time. What
Just
was
the
left
past
and what was
recent.
right.
Oh yeah. It's
Because like
changed a lot.
I didn't know. I recently started getting into politics, and I was like, I gotta try and understand this stuff. So I started looking stuff up, and I noticed it changed. It's not what it used to be.
No.
And I was like, oh geez, I don't even know what I am anymore.
I am none.
You are none. You can't be none though.
I listen to both sides of like a situation. So like
Well,
let's
yeah.
talk about the healthcare.
Okay.
I'll listen to both sides. And then within that, I'll come up with my own opinion.
So far left is, if we're gonna keep on topic a bit, no guns.
Yeah, far left, no guns.
Whereas far right is guns,
And even to the point where like police can't have guns.
which that's in my opinion dumb.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Why are they police?
And then like the far right, everyone should have like 20 guns in their house at a time. That's the far right.
Which maybe there should be a limit. Maybe.
That's
Unless you're really like concerned about the zombie apocalypse.
what I got my crossbow for.
Everybody needs 20 guns just in case of a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's actually potentially close in the future. Because scientists were actually given the go-ahead to use stem cells to try and bring a dead back to life. They have been given the go-ahead
Yes.
to do that, which there have been plenty of... I'm pretty sure we've talked about this. If not, I've said this a million times.
You mentioned it. I don't remember if it was on the record, though.
But there is plenty of movies and books and TV series why bringing dinosaurs and humans back to life is a very bad idea.
Yeah, and I think they attempted a mammoth at one point.
Yeah, they've tried a lot of things.
Yeah, which it's cool science, right? I will
Yes.
give it that. Just cool science. I like that we are exploring different things. I think there should be a boundary. Like, I don't think you should bring stuff back from the dead.
No.
But I mean, talking about Nazis, they did a lot of shady stuff,
Mhm.
but we learned a lot from it.
Well, there's a lot of different areas where there's a lot of shady
Yeah, like
stuff.
yeah. So, but I don't know. That'd be kind of a cool topic for
honestly,
another time.
I am disappointed that the Area 51 thing didn't go out the way I was hoping.
Dude, I was so nervous.
Like-
I was nervous for them. I thought people were gonna die.
Oh yeah, I was expecting a lot of death,
I was like,
but
I don't want to watch that.
I was hoping they would actually get in and see what's down there.
Any aliens?
You guys disappointed me. It just turned up to a very lame festival.
What if the aliens are just people in ice, like humans? What if the aliens look like us?
See, there's a lot of different theories when it comes to like aliens and like if we're the only planet or if we're the only species out there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different theories in with that. Honestly, that's another good topic actually. I'll have to write that down.
Aliens?
Well, just like if we're the only species and then the different theories of why
that'd be
we
kinda
believe.
cool. The theory of theories.
I just think in the vast majority of space that they just probably haven't like found us yet.
I don't know.
And if they have, we don't know.
You know, it'd be kind of cool. So if we found aliens, right? If we found like how they interact with themselves and us, would that predict what our future would be like?
I don't know.
Because we are, I believe, the most intelligent species on Earth. A lot of
we
people
know
would
of.
like complain of and say like, no, dolphins are smarter. But I'm like, no, dolphins are dumb. No dolphin
Bro.
can go from water to
Earthworms.
land back to water, right?
Dude, they're the smartest
Oh,
creatures. Those earthworms.
Sure they are. But seriously, like if you were like see an alien species and you see like, I mean, we think of like aliens like intelligent life form, right?
Mhm.
Would that be our ultimate income or like outcome of the like life?
I don't
Kind
know.
of cool. Be like, oh.
Well, there are a
the
lot of good
more
theories.
Smarter that a species becomes, this is what they will eventually become.
There are a lot of crazy theories when it comes to aliens, but it is 2019. That supposed time traveler said that 2019 aliens would land, or it was 2019 or 2020. Aliens would land. We would be living with the aliens. We would all be at peace. So come on, time traveler guy, I'm waiting.
We'll see.
We'll see. So
All right. Is there anything else you want to mention before we head off?
no, I think this is a pretty good one.
All right. Hey, guys. Again, if you guys want to get started on your podcast, check out buzzsprout.com. We have a link down in the description. $20 Amazon gift card to help you get started. Click on the link. They have a free trial. You can keep your episodes up on there for about 90 days before the trial is over.
Mm-hmm.
But it's dirt cheap. What do we pay, like $12, $13 a month?
Yeah, for 3 hours worth
For
of
3
content.
hours, and you get to keep your episodes on there for like ever. It doesn't matter what size the files are, which was a big plus for us because that's what the other ones were having issues with. So definitely check them out. Do you want to go ahead and talk about
And we got
our
things.
yeah?
If you enjoy what we're doing here, you can show the love by sharing our stuff. And go on to patreon.com/BBLpod, which stands for Brothers by Law Podcast.
Yeah.
So patreon.com/BBLpod. We have 2 tiers up right now, a $1 and a $5. That $1 tier will give you a shout out. We will say your name, like, thank you, on the show live. You will be forever embedded in our podcast.
I don't know why, but BBL like is a tongue twister to me.
It seems a little weird.
It's such a tongue twister. I tried saying it earlier. And I was like, blah.
We also have a $5 tier. And these are monthly subs. So you'll be paying us $1 every month and $5 every month.
Yep.
The $5 tier, you get a shout out as well as a personalized thank you video. We will personally make a video for you.
Limited time only.
And then you get a special link to come into our Discord chat where you can get some insider info on stuff. And we will be updating this in the future when we get merch and stuff. There'll be like, you'll get merch.
So we're holding
Stuff.
off on the Patreon right now.
Oh no, I'm gonna put it out there.
Okay, just
But
making sure.
I'm just saying, like, in the future, better things will come. And if you like already subscribed to one of the tiers, you'll get whatever new stuff we put on the tier.
Yeah.
So jump on now. You'll get extra stuff. Then just, follow us on Facebook at Brothers by Law Pod. From there, you hit that like button. And if you hit that learn more button, it'll take you to our Buzzsprout website, which has all the links to our stuff there. Or just look for us. Or, go on to iTunes, go on to Spotify, go on to Google.
We're
look
almost on every platform.
Brothers by Law Pod. You can find us there. Any iTunes podcast type service will have us, and any Google podcast service. I use Podcast Go for my podcast. It's off of the Google Play Store, and it had us on there, so that was cool to see that. And that's it. We're gonna look YouTube as well. We have a Twitter, which
I've been updating it.
you've been updating
Yeah.
the Twitter.
Don't worry, guys. I got you on the Twitter. I don't think we have any followers except for like ourselves, but I still
Yeah.
post stuff just in case.
Well, then that's it. Yeah, just like our stuff, follow us, subscribe, so you can stay up to date with us.
Leave comments and whatever, and let us know what you guys would like next. Oh my, okay. Sorry. There's 2 kids that literally just ran by our window, and I'm lost. Anyways, yeah.
And as well, I think we did get 9 shares on that video or that post. We said we wanted 15.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna just do that anyways.
No. They got to get 15 shares. Give me 15 shares on this episode.
Okay, fine. We'll need 6 more shares on that post.
Gotta hold firm.
Because I'm really excited to do some videos.
No, it's a good goal for us.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
So just share that post, and we'll probably do another one when episode 4 comes out. We'll do another share this and to get another video.
Yeah.
We'll think of something cool for that video. I'll let you know. We'll figure out something cool for that video. I'll put it on that share post. What video you'll get if we get to 15 shares on that as well.
All right. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.
All right.
Y'all take care.
Later.